Should Canadians abroad with homes in Canada have to stay in hotels after traveling? The Canadian Snowbird Association is asking the government to exempt its members from mandatory hotel quarantine, saying the new rule was announced after they had already left the country. So, Mike, what do you think?
Well, I mean, rules are rules. This rule came in effect for a very simple reason. We have two fears of other strands of this virus coming out, and that's the reason for the shutdown. I think if I went down to the U.S., which I'd love to do, I'd love to sit in the sun. At least, yes, okay, when I come back, I'm going in a hotel. I think the issue here is because they've been there for the winter, and all of a sudden, this is a surprise to them that when they come home, they may be forced to go into a hotel. Okay, this is for your safety. This is for everyone's safety. Go in the hotel, get tested, and then go home.
Yeah.
But not everyone can afford it. That's the thing. My parents are snowbirds. They drive to Florida basically every year for a few months, and they didn't go this year, basically because my sister and I would have killed them. So I don't think it is fair. They would. I mean, the $2,000 price. I mean, they've been retired for years. That would be a huge cost to pay if they had decided to go down. And I think the thing is that like, while I personally think anyone who went down there is a bit nutty, the language is a bit murky around this. There was all this non-essential travel. And like, what is that? You know what I mean? What does that mean? For some people, that would be like, it's essential for my mental health, or it's essential for me to go check on my condo that I have down there. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't illegal.
Yeah.
Here's something else to consider. They need to have a negative COVID test taken within 72 hours of getting on the plane. So that's cutting down risk. And then when they get to the airport, they get another test, when they land in Canada, they get another test. And the 3 days in the hotel that they have to foot the bill for, which is upwards of $2,000, they're just waiting for the test. But I can't wrap my head around why it takes 3 days to get a test when there are rapid tests that actually exist and you can get your results back in 15 minutes.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, where are the rapid tests?
Yeah.
Where are they? Because that's the issue. Is there is a current pilot project as we speak. I think it only started last week, and there's a consortium of really big companies like Air Canada, MLSC, Shoppers Drug Mart. There's a whole list of big companies that are part of this pilot project. It's a 15-minute rapid test. You take the test, sit in a room, and it's going to tell you one way or the other. If you're positive after all those things that you just said, Jess, after you arrive in Canada, then I can understand that you're going to need to quarantine because that's how you cut down on transmission. But I just feel like we've been investing and buying, it feels like millions of dollars worth of rapid testing. And I think this is a great place to implement it.
And I think they're already using them
because
too,
they're less reliable.
TV sets and film sets. They're already using them, and high transmission places like airports. It just seems like a good way to solve this.
However, I think the problem here is that putting a recognition that rapid test is not 100% confident. Like, why would they do this? Why would they say you got to be tested 72 hours before? You're going to be tested when you land. I don't understand the extra $2,000. Shouldn't you be setting up something like a comfortable room that's affordable for anyone? This is the biggest issue: is the money. Is that just a cash grab? It's starting to appear that it is. However, the rapid test, this is somewhere that it should be introduced, because if this is true that it works in 15 minutes, do it at the airport. You're clean, go home, and then stay there for 14 days. That makes sense to me.
Yes, me too.
But until the rapid tests are available, aren't they working with what we have now, which is that people have left and they're coming back, and we're trying to make sure that new infections and cases aren't rising, and we don't want people coming in from the US or wherever with the new variants, as you mentioned, Mike, right? Realistically, you can talk about rapid tests all you want, but it's not in place yet. So this is actually the reality of the situation you're dealing with.
Well, they should have been more explicit back in November when cases were starting to rise. And that probably was around the time when people who are snowbirds were thinking about it. And if they had said back then, listen, the border is closed, which it is. I mean, and there'll be no flights, for example, going. That would have had a different message, right?
Cynthia, I totally get your point. And I just want to get Christina's Twitter message in here first. Christina writes on Twitter, it's been 11 months since the pandemic began. They were well aware of the severity. Yet they decided to take the risk of going anyway, knowing that the rules will change. It shows that they care about themselves rather than the greater good. So no, they should not be exempt. So Cynthia, I totally get your point. I think communication, as we've talked about many times on the show, has been bungled, and there are confusing mixed messages. There are some things that are not confusing. Mel, like, I'm going to fact check this with you. In the fall, when people were leaving for snowbirding and whatever, was there a pandemic happening in the world? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
In Canada, yes or no? Were numbers rising alarmingly? Yes or no?
Yeah, but I'll tell you something.
Right.
And in
There's a
Florida
problem.
too.
No, listen. These are the facts. There's a pandemic. The numbers were rising, and people were advised, even though things were confusing. Hey, if you don't need to be in enclosed spaces, wait, enclosed spaces. You get on a plane. You
Lainey,
go wherever.
As we know,
Why
over
do
the
I trust
Christmas
you?
break, hold on. Over the Christmas break, tons of government officials went on vacations.
Yes.
Did they pay $2,000 when they got
Yes.
back?
But you know what, Cynthia? We have been wanting them to be reprimanded and having consequences.
Many lost their jobs. Yeah.
So
I wanna go
here's
to
the
Barbara on
situation. What are
Facebook.
the consequences for these people who got on the plane, who aren't exceptions? Fine, but in general, if you're going buck wild and getting on a plane, why do I trust you to come back to be not buck wild?
But we
Because
can't
the
paint
government's
everybody
checking in on you.
traveling with the same brush. That not everybody was traveling, was there going and just kind of like, it's all about me.
I said
Barb on
exceptions
Facebook writes,
aside.
yes. Barb on Facebook writes, yes, if they can go straight to their own homes and isolate. It's not the seniors that are being careless. Isolation in a hotel would be devastating for many. Isolation and winter conditions is why many left. They can be safe and active in their winter destination. Consider mental health. Good point, Barb. Maybe these are not the people who are being careless.
You know what? There are exceptions, and then there are general rules. And I would like to believe that everybody's going to come home safe, but let's see. Let's
I'd
move
like
on,
to
though.
remind
Let's move on
everyone
to,
here.
yeah.
Okay, but there's the one point that everyone went down south when there was an incredible rise in the United States of COVID-19. It was so big.
Yeah.
So
It
you're
was
really
the
taking it.
epicenter.
Why go there? That's just foolishness. Number one on the planet. Why go there? I would have rather stayed home, which is what I've done.